Hey there folks, welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art and culture, and this is Billboard Breakdown. So I get the feeling that the universe saw the Hot 100 chart last week, wondered how in the hell that let so much concentrated awful pile up, and then sprung into action to correct all of it, and as a result, okay, it wasn't amazing, but definitely a major improvement. And while I knew that Kendrick Lamar was going to land a couple of songs at least, thankfully enough to compensate for Meghan Trainor, I didn't expect we'd also get hits from Jake, Owen, and Shakira, two of the most naturally charismatic performers in their respective genres over the past 15 years. So we're bound to get an upswing, right, and get some good songs? Well, we'll check in on that in a minute, but first our top 10, where there actually were some significant changes. Not the very top, obviously. Work by Rihanna and Drake is still at number 1 thanks to dominant streaming, big airplay, and considerable sales, but it's not at the top in sales anymore, and it slipped on YouTube again this week. In the face of stronger competition, I can see this taking a couple hits, and that competition will not be coming from our number 2. Love Yourself by Justin Bieber. Losing streaming, peaking on airplay, and only decent sales in YouTube are enough to keep it where it is, but I can see this falling out pretty soon. Pretty much a similar case across the board for Stressed Out by 21 Pilots at number 3, even though it's even weaker with 0 YouTube. And this actually gives My House by Flo Rida at number 4 a bit of an advantage, as it's still gaining a lot of airplay with solid sales. Only streaming took a bit of a hit there too, so we'll see if it can really capitalize on that advantage. My suspicion is that a lot of the gains will go to 7 Years by Lucas Graham, which rolls up to number 5 thanks to ruling sales and major streaming gains. It might not have YouTube, and the airplay gap is considerable, but this will be a contender in coming weeks. I'll put money on that. Hell, it was enough to leapfrog over Pillow Talk by Zayn at number 6, despite big streaming, bigger YouTube, and real airplay gains. But the sales just weren't there, not a good sign. And then we got Me, Myself, and I by G-Eazy and Bebe Rexha, which is stubbornly refusing to move at number 7 thanks to solid stats across the board, with only slightly weaker sales preventing it from getting any higher. It did keep it above Sorry by Justin Bieber at number 8, which is just flailing this week as sales were miserable and airplay and streaming kept on dropping. It might rule YouTube, but that won't be enough to keep it huge forever. It might be enough for Cake by the Ocean to pick up some traction, as that song went up to number 9 on good airplay and okay sales, but the streaming really hasn't caught fire and it's got no YouTube. What's more intriguing are the gains picked up by our new top 10 arrival at number 10, I Took a Pill in Ibiza by Mike Posner, a song that's actually grown on me a lot thus far in 2016 thanks to that remix. And while it's not picking up huge traction, it does have solid streaming with sales and airplay that are moving. With enough weaknesses above it, I can see this becoming a top 5 hit, and I got no complaints about that. And really, for our losers and dropouts, look into the latter category, I'm not exactly complaining about any of these either. Losing Antidote by Travis Scott, Save Dat Money by Lil Dicky, Fetty Wap, and Rich Homie Quan, Perfect by One Direction, and finally See You Again by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth, that's all fine by me. The only one I'd be mildly irked by would be Lean On by Major Lazer, DJ Snake, and Mia dropping out, because yeah, it did grow on me a little bit, but it's not like DJ Snake doesn't have an inferior replacement song on the chart right now, so guess I'll let that slide. And when we get to our losers this week, I don't have many complaints either. As expected, Piece by Piece by Kelly Clarkson lost considerably down to 20 after its big arrival last week in the top 10, but that wasn't the only mediocre track to take hits. Adventure of a Lifetime by Coldplay drooped down to 53, I Know What You Did Last Summer by Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello continued to slide down to 71, and the only marginally better Get Ugly by Jason Derulo collapsed down to 97. Beyond that, it wasn't particularly a great week for country music, as both We Went by Randy Houser slid down to 75, not a good sign, he just dropped an album, that was his lead-off single, and Break On Me by Keith Urban fell down to 81, but it is more of a symptom of the country charts just starting to change up with the season. You kind of expect this. Now this takes us to our returns and gains, and I have to say, I'm kind of worn out on both of our former entries. Taylor Swift is now on her 7th single with New Romantics from 1989, and honestly, I'm just kind of over all of it. And considering how low it returned, I'm thinking that 18 months after 1989, everybody else is too. Then there's Company by Justin Bieber back at 89 as his 4th single, and really, while the song's okay, we're definitely getting close to album filler territory, and I'm losing interest. But were the new gains any better? I mean, props to Alessia Cara going up to 69 for Wild Things, even if I'm not exactly wild about the song, I think it's a bit generic. And Never Forget You by MNEK and Zara Larsson continues to roar up the charts to 21 like a force of nature, but beyond that, well, I guess Don't Let Me Down by the Chainsmokers Chainsmoker Zendaya was good enough to rise up to 63, no complaints. But I can't say I'm thrilled to see Middle by DJ Snake and Bipolar Sunshine, his worst single to date, continue to rise up to 31. And while Country kinda held its own with Humble and Kind by Tim McGraw up to 57, I'm not gonna say I'm happy that Panda by Designer leapt up to 72, or Exchange by Bryson Tiller went up to 26, or Lowlight by Future and The Weeknd rose up to 43, basically by being way more underwhelming than it should have been. Whatever. You can't win all of them, so what about our new arrivals? Starting off with number 100, Gotta Lotta by 2 Chainz featuring Lil Wayne.
We got a lot of dope. We got a lot of coke. We got weed. That's a lot of smoke. Yeah, that's a lot of hope. Yeah, we got a lot of dope. Okay.
So 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne teamed up for a collaboration album, Collar Grove, although thanks to the legal nightmare of Lil Wayne's career right now, it's technically billed as a solo record from 2 Chainz with a lot of Lil Wayne featuring credits, and either way, I just don't care about it. Look, let's be honest, both these artists have been losing relevance for at least the last 2 years thanks to inconsistent quality at best, and while Watch Out has done okay for 2 Chainz despite being pretty bad, it's nothing I'd ever want to hear outside of a club, if that. This, honestly, better than I expected. Sure, Lil Wayne's auto-tune warble can get pretty grating, but he sounds healthier and more focused than he has in a while, and his hook is pretty infectious against the skittering and watery trap beat. Mostly courtesy of a Scatman John interpolation that's actually kind of inspired. And sure, 2 Chainz is spraying his usual brand of drug-addled punchlines that get kinda gross. I don't think any girl wants her vagina to smell like codeine, 2 Chainz, but I will say his flow is more on point than it's ever been. He's actually rhyming a hell of a lot more. So yeah, I'm not gonna say this is quality or anything all that healthy, but you know what? I don't hate this. It's not that bad. Number 96, Something New by Zendaya featuring Chris Brown.
I probably should wait, but I wanna let you go there. I wanna try something new all night. I wanna try something new all night. I wanna try something.
There's a part of me that feels a little bit sorry for Zendaya. I mean, this is a girl who started on Kid Spot, worked her way up to the Disney Channel, looked like she was primed like Ariana Grande to make a big splash, and yeah, her song Replay did okay, peaked at number 40, but I can't say that the production did her any favors on that song, especially considering how glitchy and overmixed it was, even for 2013 Hollywood Records quality. So even teaming up with Chris Brown was bound to be an improvement until you realize that they sampled Creep by TLC, a big song from back in the 90s. Now, as a rule, I really don't like it when R&B samples other R&B songs, especially ones as huge as Creep was, even if I was never really a fan of Creep back in the day. That said, Zendaya did take the best part of the song, the underlying slick horn and bass, but really, someone needs to put a limit how much auto-tune you can drown Chris Brown's voice in. He barely even sounds human here. Outside of that, there's just very little interesting that's this song that I like all that much. It's a no strings attached hookup that's almost played as clinical, and as such, isn't all that sexy. Go figure. Number 90, Untitled 7 by Kendrick Lamar.
Hate won't get you eyes this. Levitate, 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 levitate. Love won't get you eyes this. Drugs won't get you eyes this. Pain won't get you eyes this. Chains won't get you eyes this. Juice won't get you eyes this. Levitate, 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 levitate.
And now onto something far more interesting, and something you can guarantee will not stick around the charts very long. We have Kendrick Lamar's meandering, 3-part and subtle ode to his high-power ideology. And while I definitely say this wasn't one of my favorites off of Kendrick's Untitled Unmastered, it rambles, the opening synth notes against the trap beat don't do a lot for me until the song switches up to its second segment. It's a prime example of Kendrick Lamar doing Drake's minimalist, hook-driven, eerie sound better than Drake does. And frankly, that rattling second segment with the grimy cymbals runs circles around so many modern MCs. And yet Kendrick never lets his obvious shots at Drake come across as more than just a desire for real competition and good wordplay, for mainstream hip-hop to do better. And while a lo-fi live acoustic outro showing Kendrick coming up with Untitled 4 does go long for me, I really liked how it operated as a natural counterpoint to the rest of the song. He demands that his peers do better, and then he shows them how he does it. So yeah, definitely not my favorite off the album, but still a damn good song. Definitely check this out. Number 83, American Country Love Song by Jake Owen.
Let them fireworks start. That American country love song ain't never gonna quit playing on and on and on.
You know, I'm always kind of of blows my mind that it's been nearly 2.5 years since we got an album from Jake Owen and I covered it. But with the second single here, it looks like his promotional team finally got the clue to release the record coming into the summer and not in mid-December. And really, if we're looking for a track that should annoy the piss out of me, it would probably be this one. Jake Owen is gunning for broad American melting pot universality with every cliche in the book. Playing it all completely straight, the writing really is generic as hell, even if it does have some detail to it. And yet, I don't hate this song. The guitar tone has a little bit more muscle and bass when it's not fluttering to fill out some pretty solid background texture. The real drums let the song some real punch to it, and Jake Owen remains way too damn charismatic for his own good. Stop making me like you, Jake Owen. On some level, you could argue that the heartfelt simplicity is the song's biggest strength. And while I'll never say this is a great song, it might be a promising sign that Jake Owen's opting for more organic production on his next album. And for me, that's definitely a plus, so yeah. Don't mind this, pretty good. Number 79, Untitled 2 by Kendrick Lamar.
I see jigaboos, I see styrofoam. Get top on the phone, tell the squad come on. We go ball again, before he call us home. World is going crazy, where did we go wrong? It's a tidal wave, it's a Thunderdome.
Again, this is not my favorite song on Untitled Unmastered, but yeah, I totally get why this is the most successful track from Kendrick's surprise release. The most immediately recognizable chorus, the lyrics that seem to be glorifying wealth and flossing of him and his crew as he sees the debauchery around him with lean and gang violence. Kendrick leaping on Drake's flows against a minimalist production that picks up bass from Thundercat and sax from Terrace Martin. But, of course, Kendrick's so much smarter than that. He sets up the entire song for his ending punchline of showing just how hollow all that wealth and the accumulation of it seems, serving the audience that doesn't seem to get the real dark underpinnings of that story and only just sees and focuses on the flossing. It's the contradiction that's always run through Kendrick's music, a contradiction he's very much aware of. And just like with swimming pools ahead of it, Kendrick Lamar brings it down to incredible advantage. Knowing his luck, the song will probably end up being bigger than King Kunta are alright, because people just can't read between the lines and will see it as a flossing track, but regardless of that, it's a damn great song all the same, so I guess I'll take it. Number 66, Try Everything by Shakira.
I won't give up, no I won't give in till I reach the end, and I'll start again. No I won't leave, I wanna try everything, I wanna try even though I could fail.
So longtime fans of this channel, you know that I'm a Shakira fan. Incredible charisma, often distinctively organic production, and lyrics that are quirky and weird enough to lend her music a ton of real pop personality. She's a real favorite of mine, that is when she's writing those lyrics. This song is actually from the Zootopia soundtrack and was written by Sia and Stargate, so way to absolutely destroy my expectations here. Now let me make this clear, the song is not explicitly bad, but arguably that's even more offensive. How bland and sanitized it feels for one of the most vivacious pop stars of the past 15 years. Wouldn't it have killed somebody to add real drums to the acoustic guitar, not such a painfully sterile backbeat, or a vocal line that would let Shakira use her unique vocal intonation that makes her song stand out, or lyrics that might as well be cribbed from your standard self-esteem anthem generator? I've said in the past that Sia's writing sounds best when sung by her, but even the rejected Shakira song on Sia's last album, This Is Acting, was better than this. This song is just soulless and painfully bland. Now, thankfully, with all our luck, it'll probably be forgotten by next week, but that doesn't make this song any less of a real disappointment. Next, number 54, Came Here to Forget by Blake Shelton.
Hurrying with him before the night is over. That first kiss is like a Colorado hit. We better keep on keeping it lit till we can't remember what we came here to forget.
So I'm reaching the point where I just have no idea what to think about Blake Shelton as an artist anymore, because right now his high-profile relationship with Gwen Stefani off of The Voice, that's eclipsing any actual conversation about the music. And since he doesn't write any of his own material, as country seems to be following a very 70s-inspired trajectory, history repeating itself, with a pronounced split between the new outlaw scene and bad pop calling itself country, I really had no clue what direction Blake Shelton would choose to follow. And from the sounds of this song, I don't think he knows either, because while musically it falls in the latter latter very pop direction, the song also falls into a weird category for me. For one, it's surprisingly sour and dark, with washed out hollow synths and skittering backbeats against darker electric guitars and a little bit of acoustic elements. And I don't think while I'd call this country, it does have more gravitas than I was expecting. Part of this is Blake Shelton playing bitter anger really quite well as he commiserates with the girl at the bar about getting dumped and maybe hooking up with her. But then again, I kind of wish he actually opted for writing that didn't feel the need for obvious hip-hop cadences and multi-tracking that's more synthetic than it should be on the verses. Now this song reminds me most of is probably Home Alone Tonight by Luke Bryan and Karen Fairchild from Little Big Town, but this at least feels properly framed and highlighting the frustration and ugly bitterness of it all and this real sadness here. I just wish it opted for something a little bit more stripped down or gritty or maybe even a little bit more acoustic or real country with some steel guitars. Rely on the performance rather than the glitz of the production. This could have been better. As it is, it's just okay, really. And finally, number 11, No by Meghan Trainor.
No, my sign is no. My number is no. You need to let it go. You need to let it go. Need to let it go. I to the no, no, no. My name is no. My sign is no. My number is no. You need to let it go. You need to let it go. Need to let it go. I to the no, no, no.
I heard about the controversy about the song long before I actually heard the song, and given how many people on Twitter and on YouTube are warning me about the song, I was preparing myself for the worst. This is reportedly Meghan Trainor's big sellout move, the pivot to mainstream pop where she put aside the faux doo-wop style that made her famous. But really, I've been expecting this since I reviewed her debut album Title early last year and recognized how much of that was really a pose. Well, apparently nobody told the head of her record label that, so after an argument where they told her there was no obvious lead single for her upcoming album, Meghan Trainor got real pissed off and recorded this song, sort of analogous to when Sarah Bareilles wrote Love Song almost a decade ago. This is not like that, and actually has a lineage that goes back a lot further. In fact, it sounds like something that might have been recorded in the heyday of Britney Spears and NSYNC around the turn of the millennium. Now, I'll admit, I've got a real weakness for this sort of material with the hyper-compressed guitars and the layered vocals. So how is it, over 15 years later, that Meghan Trainor has no idea why those songs actually work? She screws it up. Why does her dead-eye delivery have no tightness to it? Where is the melody or punch that relies way more on drum machines and percussion than any interesting layering? How is it, when you crib so much from NSYNC's It's Gonna Be Me, you pair it with such a leaden chorus with dinky whistle effects that completely kills the momentum? And the lyrics, look, I get telling off some douchebag and the importance of being clear and saying no, but what sort of message is this song trying to create when you have her telling women in the pre-chorus when the guys aren't giving up to titillate and then play the no game like she's J-Lo on How I Met Your Mother? It's trying for the tease here in this song, but given the emphasis on the no, it'll drive away every guy except those who don't listen to no. You want a song that actually does this right and actually has some fire behind it? Look up You and Your Hand by Pink about a decade ago. Not this slurry of bad mixed messages from Meghan Trainor. Skip this song, it sucks. But really, aside from that, this is actually a pretty solid week, where the worst and the best fairly easy to point out. No by Meghan Trainor takes the former for continuing to make mediocre retro pandering junk, with dishonorable mention, I can't believe I'm saying this, going to Try Everything by Shakira for just being a huge disappointment. And best, it's not even a contest. Might not be the best songs from the album, but Untitled 2 and Untitled 7 from Kendrick Lamar take the best and honorable mention in that order. Damn good songs. Okay, we're now back on track on the Hot 100. Let's hope for more like this next week, but till then, I'm Mark, you're watching Spectrum Pulse and Billboard Breakdown, and I'll see you next time.